Tony Robbins thing. That moment when we did the Ho'oponopono.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Oh man,
Let's talk about it. So I had no idea what that was at all, and I thought, so okay, guys, stand up and turn to the person next to you, and you're gonna say, "I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you." Right? That was it.
yeah. Looking at them in the eye.
Looking
Complete stranger.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll do that for a couple times, right? And then it just kept going. It just kept now say it with intensity. Now say it as if you love them with all your might. I was like, who is this person? Maybe it would have been better with you, but like, I don't know if I was partnered up with he was like, yeah, my wife is like over there. I'm trying to. I was like, okay, let's commit to it, brother. But then as I was really looking at, because he was, and then at a certain point, because this must have gone on for 20 minutes of just, I'm sorry, I love you.
Please
forgive me. Thank you.
I'm tearing up already.
And it just kept going and going and going. And at a certain point, I started hallucinating. I'm starting to think about like my ex-girlfriend. I'm starting to think about like the people around me. Like it's not even about like him anymore. Yeah, I start thinking about all the people in my life, and it was just, it was really powerful. I realized, what do you say? That you don't necessarily need, you could take responsibility for another person's pain, right? So do that. And then after the whole exercise, I'm like, wow, people don't hear this enough.
Yeah. They don't.
They don't.
Too busy with brain rot content.
Yeah. Yeah.
Says a lot though. Like, it's out there if you look for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you make any calls afterwards, or did you write to anybody? You did?
Yeah. So I had a festival that I was a partner in Thailand. It was like this really...
Wonder Fruit?
No, not that big. But like a festival. We'd basically do like 3-4 days on CoPP. Yeah. It's really cool. And I've had some issues with my business partners, and basically the end result has been that like I needed to leave and move on. But I was in two minds. Basically, we've been negotiating our like, this is like
settlement. Yeah,
what it looks like. And on one hand, I was like, I'm fucking getting what I like deserve. And then on the other hand, I was like, fuck it, just let go. And I've been battling with that, and it's been like churning me up for like 8 months. It's been a whole thing. Like it's been like filling my head with complete just stress and anxiety and sadness and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. And it was like front of mind day one, front of mind day two. It was like front of mind when we did one of those like exercises where we were like yelling and letting go of something. Yeah. It's front of mind in the Ho'oponopono, whatever the fuck you call it. And then day 3, I was like so fired up. We were doing some exercise, and I'm like, today's the day. So at like 3 a.m. on day 3, I called my this guy's like one of my best friends. Current, not one of my best friends. Like we don't speak.
Oh wow.
It's like really rough.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like it's super rough. Anyway, I called him and I'm like, hey man, I'm just letting you know. I knew if I didn't do it, because I was like so fired up from this Tony Robbins thing. Yeah. And I knew if I didn't do it in that moment, in that state, I'd put it off for another 6 months. Yeah, right. So I'm like, I'm just going to do it. Yeah. Like we were doing that exercise around like the wizard and the fucking... The magician. And the magician and the warrior. And they were all saying the same thing, just like let it go.
Who was saying the same thing?
All the magician, the king, the warrior. Yeah. The lover, they were all like just saying, let it go. So I called him and I said, hey man, look, I did the blaming effectively thing. So for anyone listening to this, it was like, what the fuck are we talking about? We both just went to this Tony Robbins seminar, 6 days, Date with Destiny, crazy shit. A lot of these like frameworks and concepts are like
how to think about things in
Yeah.
a more constructive way.
In a very simple way, very simple and constructive tools that are like very visual based. Like, you know, there's the archetypes of the way that people live and think, which is like a warrior, like go. The lover, which is like fun and flowy, and the magician and the king.
It's like useful psychology.
It's useful, simple psychology.
Yeah.
So we're doing all these exercises, and I get to day 3, and I'm like, fuck, all right, I'm gonna call him. So I called him. I said, hey, look, I'm gonna blame you for all the good things that happened, and I'm walking away. Just walked away.
And
haven't spoken to him since.
What was his reaction?
He was like, okay.
Oh, okay.
He's like, hopefully we can be friends one day. I'm like, yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Okay. I mean,
that's it.
That's it.
Done. Like it's done because I've said it's done. I'm not going to pursue them. I'm not going to go legal. I'm not going to hit them up and be like, we need to keep negotiating this. It's just like, I'm walking away. I'm good. You have my blessing. Good luck with the project. Thank you for the memories. It's time for me to move on. Yeah. So yeah, that happened. Which was fucking like, and then I got off the phone. You know, I'm like chirpy. Yeah. The moment I got off the phone, just bawled my eyes out. Yeah. 3 a.m, randomly in the street. In West Palm.
Do you feel lighter afterwards?
Yeah. Less charged, less emotionally charged. Yeah. On the overall situation.
That's really good. I mean, that's really the point of it. You know, is to just get all those, like, it's like emotional, like detoxing. Yeah. What
about you?
It's like juices, but like for your emotions.
For your brains.
I made a couple things. I made a couple calls, a couple texts. Actually, texted my ex the other day. Yeah. And just laid out all the things that, like, I mean, she's seeing somebody new, like, where we haven't spoken maybe like, God, might have been a year now. Yeah. But I left the relationship in a pretty immature state. State. And I think it was on day 4 when, like, all those, like, relationship points came up where I was like, you know, wow, I was the controlling, I guess, masculine but controlling guy, immature masculine, right? And I just apologized for all those things. I said, you know, thank you, and
I love you. Please forgive me.
Definitely not. I love you. No, I love you. No, I love you. Just the forgive me part and the thank you part. I was like, thank you for 2 years. Thank you for I think, she was a really loving person. So, like, I just thanked her for all of that. Yeah. And ultimately I just asked that she forgives all the.
Please forgive me.
For all the ways I was being so controlling in the relationship, and it's sent that over. She calls me, and she was like, "Wow, I wish you said that 2 years ago. That would have been." I'm still really happy that you sent that, but yeah, she just sounded happy. Yeah, that came to my senses, I guess. Yeah. Because for the longest time, I was so, like, love was not in my top 3 values. It was like number 5 or number 6. Like success, achievement has always been in the top, like, 1 to 3. So even when I was in a relationship, like, after a year in, after, like, I guess the highs wore off, I was just like, okay, I got to get back on my grind. I got to get back to work, you know? And I think after that, there was a lot of fights around that. Whereas, like, she prioritized love and family, and I did not at all. I probably shunned her off, like, so many times. Yeah. And that was just unfair to her, and I probably caused her a lot of pain.
I bet.
So I just apologize for that.
Yeah. Do you think you ever would have come to any of these realizations if not for doing this 6-day thing?
No, definitely not.
That would have been it. What were you saying to yourself beforehand versus like what happened afterwards?
Because since then I haven't been in a relationship. So
since Tony Robbins, like what was your like narrative and thought process around that relationship before then, and then like after this 6-day course, what was your narrative and thought process around it afterwards?
I think going into it, man, we should get some affiliate links for the course. Oh man, we're just talking up the program. But no, I think before going into it, I was anti-relationship. I was anti-love, anti-everything. There was this one section on relationship day was like, raise your hand if you're not in a relationship and you don't want to be in one.
And you're like,
I was like,
did you put your hand up?
That's me. Yeah. I put my hands up, and then, but then afterwards, I was like, fuck, like love really makes the world go round.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, like maybe, just maybe, there's a world where like I could have this and it makes the work better.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, isn't it? Just like, I got to be alone because I got to work.
Yeah. What is that? What am I going to do that for the next 5 years? Like, probably not.
Yeah.
But there's probably going to reach a point where I'm like, no, I could, you know, this is good fuel for everything else in my life. And I think back then I also didn't have the tools to like communicate that properly in a relationship and maybe find the right compromise that worked with us. I don't know, like, yeah, I think I'm just a lot more equipped now at handling this. And are there smarter things that I could do at work that saves me time? Like 100%. You know, so there's just like, now that myth in my head is kind of dissolved, where it's like, oh, you can't find work-life balance ever.
Yeah.
I
like, instead of work-life balance, more like work-life integration. That's a better way to think about it. Like, do you know Founders, the Founders podcast?
No.
Bro, it's so good. You'll love it. So basically it's this guy that just reads a ton of really awesome biographies about like the best people in the world from history. Yeah. And then he just does these like 1 hour like summaries of and it's one of the best podcasts. But one of the key takeaways with a lot of these like high-end, like highly successful, like industry shaping entrepreneurs is they don't have necessarily work-life balance. They're fucking crazy, but they bring in their family life into the business, into the process.
Interesting.
And it's a part of the experience. So like their kids are working at the places, their wife helps, it's a part of their life. So so instead of being like, oh, I'm going to be working now.
That makes sense.
And then I'm going to go and do this with my kids, but I'm like going to be wanting to work. It's like, hey, let's do this instead. Let's do this together. And it's the experience with the family becomes a part of the business itself.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, because you can't just disregard that area of your life, you know?
Yeah. It just falls apart.
Yeah. And for the longest time I was like, no love, no nothing, no family, like. But now, like, I think after the conference, I'm like, okay, there's a world where we could make this work. And maybe it's through integrating it. Maybe it's through, you know, working smarter about things. I don't know, but I'm more open to it now.
Just find a content girlfriend, and then you guys can
I did try that for a little bit. Not with that.
You can't have two people that have significance as their primary driver.
Yeah, you really can't, brother. And I don't know how these TikTok couples are doing it, but
they're probably not. I mean, maybe one of them's just a chiller.
Yeah, there has to be one that's just a little bit more chill. One that understands that social media is a tool to ultimately get love and connection, as opposed to prioritizing that as their value. Yeah.